Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, XCN is on the move, ladies and gentlemen. Right? It is on the move, and we can see that in just the last few hours, this thing has exploded to the upside. Now we can see, boom, it went up 15% roughly. Now, some people might not think that's a lot, right? Some people don't even classify those as pumps, but ladies and gentlemen, you have to realize that 15% in the context of how we've been trading over the last, I mean, God knows how long, is actually a lot. Okay, it is genuinely a lot. And we can see, right? We have created a new 4 hour candle that's just happening right now. But in the previous 4 hour candle, I mean, this is one of the biggest candles we've had, generally speaking. Last time we've had it was on the September of 12th, right? We had one decent one here on August 28th. This was decent, right? But it wicked, right? It was rejections. And then we haven't really had anything since July. So it's very, very rare for us to be seeing this type of price action. I mean, even if we go to something like XCN down over here, we can see multiple 4 hour candles, and that's only 10%. That's only 10%. We finally go up to here, that's almost 14%. And of course, if we go all the way up to this spike, that's 30%. We have to realize in the context of XCN, generally speaking, right? Generally speaking, I mean, they're very, very small candles. Very, very small. We could just see right here, this candle over here is a 4% candle. I mean, all these baby candles. I mean, I could go on this one right over here. This candle, this whole thing was 1%. I mean, you got to realize 15%, roughly speaking, in the last couple of hours is very, very huge for Exian. And, we talked about it. We talked about potential reversals. We also talked about the potential snipe opportunity over here, right? I did say have your limits ready just in case. But you guys got to realize sometimes with these markets, it's hard to say if it's going to happen 100%. Okay, because sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, right? We talked about the weekly candle, how, technically this was enough, right? This was enough for us to tap here, for us to get reversals. So that's why I always recommend dollar cost averaging when you're at very low points, right? We've had an opportunity since pretty much the end of August until, let's just say, the 12th of September to be buying XCN very, very cheap. You've had roughly almost 2 weeks in this price range to be buying XCN for very, very cheap. We talked about it before, how objectively speaking, right, XCN was at some of its lowest points ever, right? If we take the most recent top and we take it to like the most recent bottom, let's just say here, you had an 88% discount. And we know, or maybe you guys don't know, but a lot of times, roughly when you get an 88% discount or correction, that's usually when reversals start to happen. Sometimes it dips a little bit lower to 90%. Sometimes it's around 86%. But generally, usually once you tap 88%, it does show signs of reversals. And we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been looking very, very, very solid. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to get serious is now. The next few months are going to be the most crucial time of your lives. Okay. We're going to have crypto exploding. And this is the time to get a portfolio review. Right? You got to make sure you have the right cryptos. You don't want any old or dead coins, or you don't want anything that can give you little profits, right? So we provide a portfolio review. We've also been smashing it with the high probability meme coins. We hit an 11x, an 8x, and 5.5x in recent times. We also provide a weekly report on the crypto data, on the crypto analysis, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, on other altcoins as well. You get all this and a bunch more other benefits. Highly recommend joining the private community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some money. We also did say that, this was the last low, right? This over here was the last low, and we're looking for higher lows. And technically speaking, right? Technically speaking, in terms of the 4 hours, we had these lows over here, and this one was technically higher by a little bit. We can see we've had a double bottom on the 4 hour, and we are continuing to move higher and higher. So the question is, where is this coin going to go now? Well, for me, it's very important to see how the daily candle closes. So if I get a nice daily candle close for this beautiful XCN crypto, then I expect for momentum to continue to push to the upside for the remainder of the week, right? If we close the way we are closing right now, we may see a little bit more, we might see a little bit of downside on Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday, we could see a little bit more of pumps. Monday, we might have a little retracement, and then we should continue to go to the upside. We know we had the federal rate cuts, ladies and gentlemen, right? We cut it by 0.25%. So look, I expect cryptos, I expect altcoins, I expect the markets to start moving. The markets should generally start to move. If it's not going to move a lot this week, it's going to move a lot next week. If it's not going to be next week, it's going to be the start of quarter 4. But that's really like as far as we should go. This is our first rate cut in practically a year. And there's rumors saying that we should have 2 more rate cuts by the end of this year. So, one's practically guaranteed, one more rate cut's practically guaranteed, but the other two, or sorry, the other one, the third one, is kind of a 50-50 at this point. But the point is the markets are starting to move. The markets are really, really starting to move to the upside. And we can see, guys, generally speaking, even if we go to something like this, I've been talking about in the private community, we have been just looking very good with altcoins. People are saying, oh, it's going to go down. No, in the private community, I've been saying this whole time that, listen, hold on to your altcoins. Everything is looking to be good. We are expecting to go further and further up. The market makers are going to go up and down to trick you, but ultimately things are going to look very, very well, right? Once again, XCN has probably had one of the bigger pumps, especially for the cryptos we hold. We can see up 12.30%. And we can see, ladies and gentlemen, right? We are ranked 137 out of 9,500 active cryptos. We can see we have 455 million market cap. For the people that are worried about the volume, right? Boom, a 12, 13, 15% type of pump, and we already see almost 55 million in volume, and we're not even listed on Binance. We're still not listed on some of the other exchanges. Things are looking absolutely good. Things are looking absolutely fantastic, right? If we go to coin market cap, I wonder if we're here, right, in the last 24 hours. I'm surprised we're actually not here. Where are we? Should we not be over here? Oh, it's because I know why. Ladies and gentlemen, I know why. It's because we are probably filtering. Yeah, we are outside the top. We are outside the top 100, but we will eventually be in the top. We will eventually be in the top 100. So XCN, we can see 13th, ladies and gentlemen. That's really, really good, right? 13th. So, we had very, very decent, solid pumps. Things are looking generally good. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited to see where this crypto is going to go over the next few months. I genuinely do believe that we should still be seeing at least a 10 billion market cap, which is roughly less, a little bit more than 20x, roughly a little bit more than 20x from this position. And that makes me super, super excited. I know that makes you guys super, super excited. But yeah, that is ultimately going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. I love you guys so, so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.